All right, here we go.
The 2021 D.C. pipe bombings, the 2022 leak of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision, and the cocaine that was found in the White House in 2023.
Here to discuss this and more is FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Dan, great to see you on the couch again.
Yeah, welcome back, Fox.
Absolutely.
Good to see you in person.
That's my Oshi, guys. That's my Oshi.
So many good memories.
I watched the Dan Bongino show every day before.
Great to see all of you.
First off, before we get into specifics, what did you think the job was going to be like? What is it like?
You know, the biggest lifestyle change for me has been family-wise. I mean, we already went through this with my time in the Secret Service. But, you know, when the president called and asked if I would take the job, you know, you can't tell your audience for years, go out and do stuff, talk is cheap. And then when the opportunity comes to do stuff, I didn't mean me, you know, I meant you. It's kind of you're a fraud. I mean, you don't sound like a fraud, you are one. So it was a lot. It's been tough on the family. People ask me all the time, you know, do you like it? I say, no, I don't. But I didn't, the president asked me to do this to like it. You know, nobody likes going into an organization like that and having to change things.
You want to know an interesting thing, though? I mean, that is a good point, Jeffrey Russ. I was thinking about that, too, earlier. That it is entirely possible. Hear me out. This is going to sound a little weird. It is entirely possible for, hold on, I'm thinking definitionally. Definitionally, is it possible? Is it possible for Jeffrey Epstein to kill himself, but it's still murder? I think it is, actually. Because, okay, let's assume, right, that, I mean, think about, yes, if he was coerced, right? So, like, basically, like, what if they set up the situation for where Jeffrey Epstein could kill himself and they gave him the opportunity to do so, and they told him, like, if you don't do it, then bad things will happen to people that you care about. Right? That is possible, right? I mean, that's kind of what happened with Rommel, right? Rommel, you know, the Nazi dude, where they basically didn't want to kill him. They didn't want to execute him, so they basically told him, like, kill yourself and we'll take care of your family. Otherwise, you're all fucked, right? Yeah, that is possible, yeah. Because then it would make it harder to prove that, like, right, because that would be the ideal way to do it, right? If you wanted to get rid of Jeffrey Epstein, that would be the ideal way, because it makes it significantly harder to actually, it's less to clean up. Fact check, Rommel was not a Nazi? Well, I mean, he was, okay. So you mean like politically? Because he definitely like fought, he definitely wore the uniform. Well, I guess it depends what you mean, right? I guess technically you could be right, technically. Right, Phoenix? Because, so Rommel did fight for the Nazis, but you could say that like he wasn't ideologically a Nazi, which is possible. I don't know. But basically, Rommel was allegedly a part of the plot to assassinate Hitler, which is why they basically told him to kill himself. He was in the military before the Nazis took power, so he was under oath to fight for the German army. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like technically, yeah. You know what? You're technically right. Yes, that is possible, right?
Make big, bold changes. But, you know, I was at one of our facilities yesterday down in Winchester, and a woman who worked there, very nice, said, you know, I used to watch your show. I miss you. I said, you know, I miss you too. You know, part of you, part of you dies a little bit when you see all this stuff from behind the scenes.
You're doing this for country, so we appreciate that and we thank you, and we're excited.
Dude, the thing is Dan Bongino didn't have to do this. He had a really good thing going on. He was actually like one of the biggest like shows on the right, if not the biggest. I think he was the biggest, wasn't he? Am I wrong? He's like he was the biggest like podcast on the right. I think podcast live show. I think he was the biggest, but he didn't have to do it. In fact, it was kind of bad timing. It was really bad timing for him because Dan Bongino had just bought a new studio. Basically, he got a new studio for the show, and they were getting ready to move into the new studio, and then Trump asked him to like join the FBI, and he said on his show that like like morally he couldn't say no, because he said that if he literally just said it here, that like morally if he says no, then it means that he actually wasn't that interested in making a change. Like it would be a hypocritical move to say no to protect his own business, because he was like I'm given the chance to enact change, and if I say no, then what is anything that I'm saying? Basically, all of the points I'm making on my show are all like basically bullshit, because when given the opportunity to actually enact change, I said no. That was like his point, basically.
To find out, to roll back the curtain and find out what's deep in the FBI. We have so many questions about those 3 cases we just mentioned. Y'all are doing a deep dive into this. What's the latest on those investigations?
So the moment Kash and I swore in, we realized that the first thing we had to do is rebuild public trust. This is your FBI. It's not mine. I tell the employees every day, you don't own it, you don't own it, I don't own it. It's like being the center fielder for the Yankees. That'll live with you forever, but you don't own the Yankees. It's a proud franchise. The place has taken a reputational hit. There is zero question about it. There were a lot of bad actors. One of them still out there causing us all kinds of trouble. So we had to fix it and rebuild public trust. One of the ways to do it is these cases of significant public interest that matter. You know, we had 2 pipe bombs planted on January 6th. I mean, we were told by partisan actors out there this was the insurrection, the world was going to fall apart, and no one seemed to show any interest in this case.
I guess this kind of does make sense, because if they did, just trying to think like outside the box, if they actually did get Epstein to kill himself, then like factually he did kill himself, right? So it's not wrong, because the thing is you can't say the other part yet. So if everybody is basically telling you, find out who killed Epstein, but you know the facts of the matter are that he did kill himself, because then it would make sense, right? All the puzzle pieces would fit in, sort of. I think there's a couple that are a little off, which is like the method in which he killed himself with, and the inconsistency of the injury. They would need to have a reason for that. So those 2 things are outliers. Like it was like the autopsy, right? The autopsy and like the method were like really like held into questions. Like they didn't really match up. The autopsy didn't really match up with the method, is what I'm trying to say. So is it possible that that's what happened? Is that he did kill himself, but it was the reasoning behind it's weird, right? So like, why did the camera go out if he just killed himself anyway? But it all matches up if they basically told him to, they somehow got a message to him that he had to kill himself, otherwise they would take revenge upon people he cared about or something like that, right? So like the guards being incompetent or whatever, not doing their job, and then the camera going out, all of that syncs up with that. That is possible. But again, it also is possible that it is also possible it's all coincidence, and it's all like just a bunch of people failing, and that he actually did kill himself. I don't know. It's weird. I really want to know like what happened, but anyway. So my point was, from like the point of view of like I guess Dan Bongino and Kash, basically, it could be true that he killed himself, but that there's more to it, and that they basically are just saying like that he killed himself because that's what the evidence points to, and that like basically they're saying that because they said they would tell everybody, and that's what the evidence points to, but they're still looking into it. It's possible, and then like we're not going to know until like more evidence comes out.
The second we got in, I put a team on it, and I said, I want answers on this. And I'm pretty confident that we're closing in on some suspects. The reason, by the way, I use social media with these cases, I'm trying to communicate on social media, is nothing's by accident, guys. I do nothing by accident. Every time I put a tweet out on it, we get tips. We got a fascinating tip on one of these cases, one of the 3. I don't want to say which one, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to close out one of them, hopefully shortly. And in the cocaine in the White House, I saw someone on social media, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. We work for you, but said, I don't care about the case. Yeah, I do. I was a Secret Service agent. A potentially hazardous material made its way into the White House. Yeah. Nobody seems to know how it got there, and nobody seemed to investigate it fully. Like, what planet do we live on where that's not a public...
Crackheads everywhere said, I don't care about it.
Interest. So
You're faced with this interesting thing, but I'm not.
Thank you for the bits every night at midnight. Leaf Bongino, smash or pass? He's fucking married, bro. Pass. What the
Since
fuck?
I was a kid, and I know your instinct is to swing back, but you promised that you weren't going to do that. You promised that you were going to get rid of the partisanship, and you were going to go back to being a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
You went in there, and there were some cases that were closed or still open that a lot of the public felt a little sketchy about. The first assassination attempt against President Donald Trump. It's like, is he?
Bongino smelly pits. I swear. Why you? Look, I tried to skip over it. Okay, why you gotta say it like that? Why you gotta say it like that? It's weird. It's weird.
Really the guy? What happened with Epstein? Can you say with confidence, as a lot of people, you used to be their guy when it comes to podcasts, confidence, as a lot of the guy? What happened with Epstein? Can you say with confidence, as
Why does this guy look off screen? Like worried. What is this guy?
sketchy about? The first assassination attempt against President Donald Trump. It's
Look,
like,
he keeps looking like at like a producer.
Is he really the guy? What happened with Epstein? Can you say with confidence, as a lot of people, you used to be their guy when it comes to podcasts, appearing on Fox News, but now as a law enforcement officer, can you?
He looks like really uncomfortable. Wait,
instinct is to swing back, but you
guys, am I reading too much into it? It's kind of
promised
weird.
that you weren't going to do that. You promised that you were going to
Once he starts talking about Epstein, the guy's like,
get rid of the partisanship, and you were going to go back to being a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
You went in there, and there were some cases that were closed or still open that.
but everyone else looks pretty calm. Dan Bongino, her, and this dude. I've seen this guy before. He's checking the teleprompter. Do they have a teleprompter for
A
this?
lot of the public felt a little sketchy about the first assassination attempt against President Donald Trump. It's like, is he really the guy? What happened with Epstein? Can you say with confidence, as a lot of people, you used to be their guy when it comes to podcasts, appearing on Fox News, but now as a law enforcement officer,
No, but
can you say?
she has a paper for that. You can have a paper for notes.
We have all the information?
Well, I'm never going to say we have all of it. And people ask me all the time, are these cases closed? And whether they're closed administratively is irrelevant. If new tips come in, we're absolutely going to follow them. And that's why I always put out, if you have additional
The other guy in blue is going rogue. Producers are the white guys here. They tell him to get back on track. Thanks for the visit, tonight. Thank you.
information, please let us know. Those two cases obviously are of significant public interest. I'm just telling you what we see in the file. I just want to be crystal clear on this. I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't.
Right.
There is nothing in the file at this point on, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay, it was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this, we are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Right.
There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprint.
So what they're saying is, he's saying that they have a different camera angle, like a camera that doesn't actually look specifically at Epstein's cell, but at the surrounding area. So they can rule out that anybody entered the cell. Hold on. Okay, all they're saying is that nobody entered the room. Guys, we have ourselves a closed room. He entered the room. So he's inside of the cell. Nobody entered the cell or left the cell during that time. But hold on, how long did they do this for? Do they have it all the way up to when people discovered it? Because that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody wasn't in that room, right? It would depend on the time frame of like how long they have the observation video. Because just because they have a camera, okay, just because they have a camera that shows people that enter and exit at the time of death doesn't mean that somebody couldn't have been in that cell even a day before. Does that make sense? Might as well go, you know what? Okay, fine. Might as well go Erica mode. Okay. You know, fair enough. Fair enough. True. Okay. Okay, guys. So the thing is just because they would have to have more evidence, because somebody could have entered the room before. So okay, again, if the camera shows that nobody entered the room, the hours to like Epstein's death doesn't mean that somebody wasn't in that room again before, right? Like there could have been someone that went into that room before that, for which a time period in which they do not have the footage, and then that person killed Epstein. But, this is not even like including the theory that they coerced him to kill himself, which is also like a completely different theory, right? So like, how would you escape from that room then? Like, do they have footage of when they discovered him dead? And then the person walked out of the room while they were investigating it? While they were investigating it, he was one that, like, he walks out of the room during the investigation? Or the people who are involved in cleaning up the room are also involved, and they found a way to sneak him out. All I'm saying is it's not impossible. This footage does not prove it, is what I'm saying. That's my point. Is the footage that he says that they have does not prove that there wasn't a person that killed Epstein. Even if the video is 100% perfectly legitimate, and we can prove that video is legitimate, it doesn't mean that there wasn't even a person in that room to kill Epstein. Conspiracy theories about Leaflit? No, I'm just saying, like that's how I would do it if I were Beatrice.
Prince, there's no suspects. There's no
like if it were okay. Look, if it were me, if you told me like, okay, Leaflit, you have to go kill Epstein without anybody knowing it. Okay, well, what is okay? When do the cameras reset, or when do they have to switch tapes? You find out that time, you go in, you stay in the cell with Epstein, right? And then like maybe Epstein knows you because like you're like a friend of his, right? Or you're one of the people involved, right? You're in there and you're just kind of like, keeping him company or whatever, and then you fucking kill him. All I'm saying is that if I wanted to kill him, right? And like I knew him and like I was like acquainted with him, you get in, like, depending on like whenever they change the tapes, you get into the room, you stay in the room for like a long time. And unless, because if the camera is out that's actually looking at the cell, that camera doesn't count anymore. It's out of the question, right? So it doesn't matter like what's going on inside of the cell. The cell becomes cloaked in shadows, like nobody knows what's there, right? And then you kill him. You like, sorry, bro. And then you kill him, and then you get out with the team that comes in. If the team that comes in is also compromised, they come in, they're like, oh my God, Epstein's dead. And then like you get out with that group, right? So unless they have like a camera that's there, in fact, you could even stay in the cell. Right? In fact, you could even just stay in the cell until way later and then walk out later. And this is not even assuming that like there was some kind of like suicide coercion plot, right? That could be another thing. There could be like a suicide coercion plot. All I'm saying is that it is possible to kill him with this camera that Dan Bongino is speaking of. It is possible. It is possible. If I were the witch in this scenario, I could kill Epstein without anybody knowing, based on the detective, based on the evidence that they have. I could still do it. That's what I'm saying.
Accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
So there's three cases that you're looking at: the D.C. pipe bombings, the Supreme Court leak on the Dobbs decision, and the cocaine in the White House. You say one of them.
You're pretty chill discussing murder, bro.
Day or two, we're gonna have a major.
I just like mystery stuff.
Major break.
Well, we got a good tip this morning. We're going to run it out. We're not going to be able to.
Now, we can fix that if you put some tape on the door. then we can be for certain that nobody walked in there.
To make that public, obviously, right away, because we have to make sure, and we have to go all the proper steps. What I don't want to do ever, and I've said this before, it's not an excuse. I can't say to the public enough. I put it in my tweets all the time. I'm not asking you to trust me. Nothing drives me crazier when people go, they're asking us to trust a plan. I am absolutely not. Read my tweets. I don't want you to trust me. I don't. I'd be nice.
You'll have evidence.
All I care about is results.
So let's talk about what the president wants. He clearly wants a result. When he told Brett Baer on the assassination attempt, he's got questions on the first one. Watch.
There's a lot of frustration that we still don't know about that shooter in Butler. And we don't know about his communications. Will we get transparency?
I thought it was strange. The one guy had 18 cell phones. Okay. I have a lot of cell phones, but I have like 2.
Here, let me diagram it for you guys, okay? Let's make it easier. Let me diagram what I'm talking about, okay? I don't know the layout, but I'm just gonna assume. I'm just gonna make up some shit. Obviously, like the layout's gonna be different. But let's say like this is Jeffrey Epstein's cell. Here's the door. Okay, and then let's say that like there's like a hallway or something, right? Hallway. And then say it's like this. Okay. And then like say the other entrance is here. All right. The camera, let's use purple. There's a camera here. And then let's say there's a camera. Let's say that there's a wall here. There's like, I don't know the layout. So I'm just kind of making it up. And then let's say there's a camera here. Right? So they're saying that this camera was out, right? This is the camera that is dead, right? So let's just put Epstein in here. Epstein's in here, right? And let's say that this is the camera, okay? This camera is active. So this purple camera is the only, let's say that this door is the only way in. This door is the only way in, okay? Epstein's inside of this thing. This camera is out and the guards are like, they're just like asleep. Like the guards are like here. But let's say if these guards are not in here, right? These are the guards and they're asleep or whatever. They're not paying attention. So these guards are out of the question. This camera is out of the question. So we're just going to mark those with red. So none of this is active, only this camera. This is the camera, right? So let's say that this is the only way in. This is the only way in, okay? So what you would do is say this camera runs 24 hours, or let's say it runs like 2 days and then it resets. Or let's say that they didn't even look at the footage before that, right? You could have a person. So like I could walk in here, camera, and this is 3 days ago. Camera would detect me going in there and going here, right? And I go in here, I stay in this room until this camera footage is either flushed or no longer relevant to the investigation. It could be any length of time. It could be a month. It could be 2 months. It could be as long as fucking possible. Right. And then right at the time that I decide I kill Epstein, the crew comes in. So this is now like the people, they come in and they're like, oh shit, Epstein's dead. And then I dress up as a person who came in and said, oh my God, Epstein's dead. And say like, there were so many people that did this, that this camera wouldn't be able to pick up every single person that went in. Then I can just walk out. Do you see what I mean? Again, this assumes that multiple people were on board with this. Assumes that multiple people were on board with like this plan. There's a bunch of other stuff too. You could blind spot this camera. Like, for instance, there could be like this kind of thing that you can do to get in here as well. So like there's multiple ways that like we don't know the layout, right? But what I'm saying is the existence of a camera that monitors everybody that goes in. The existence of this camera doesn't prove that like nobody went in here to kill Epstein. That's my point. the guards were in on it. I mean, it's also possible. That's also possible. There's a guard entrance X over here. And then basically the guards came in and killed him. And then like the camera wouldn't pick up the guards because they came in from a different entrance. This is also a possibility, right? It's kind of hard to see. Tiramisu Zaibatsu says, I work in a jail. A guy like him would have been put on watch and put in a cell that has a camera inside the cell. Yes. So Tiramisu, that camera is this camera. So you can actually move this camera if you wanted to. You could literally move this camera. It's like, let's just move this camera. And you could move this camera to here. Right? Say the camera's here. But then regardless, this camera went out. Right? This is them stating it. They stated the prison themselves, the investigation themselves stated that this camera was out. That's like public information, right? That this camera was out and that the guards were not paying attention. You can also hack the camera to show what you want. Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, that's true, Max. It doesn't matter because they said that this camera wasn't operational. So this camera, regardless of what they chose to do with it. So if this camera was active, then we could say that, yeah, maybe they swapped the footage on it, but then that's not, and then that would put into question the footage itself. But this is not a part of the question because they already said that this camera was out. Went out. LOL, our cameras are old and terrible. They don't go out. You know what? I mean, sure. I mean, that is possible, Tiramisu, but like, again, this is like what they said, right? So like, okay, my point is that even based on what they're saying, it is still possible to kill Epstein. That's my point. That's my entire point, is that you can still kill Epstein even in the setup that they are providing.
Call that a lot. And I think I probably make more calls than him. They live outside of Butler.
It's true. You could also fuck up this footage. This footage can also be fucked up. So you could fuck up this footage to make it unreliable. And then this entire thing is in darkness now, right? Like this, now this entire thing, status unknown. If this camera is compromised.
Little place. Where did they get this lawyer that would represent IBM and would represent ExxonMobil?
But you're the president. Can't you find out?
Ask the important questions. They should have more than enough probable cause to investigate why Epstein was allowed to kill himself. No, of course they should look into it. I'm not. Yeah, I think they are. I think they are looking into it. Just dig into the cell. I mean that's another possibility. There's a lot of ways to kill. So the existence of this camera doesn't prove the existence of this. My whole point is that my entire point is that the existence of this camera. My entire point is that the existence of this camera does not deny a way to kill Epstein through this route. That's my point. Is that this camera has a lot of questions before we know that this is a definitive proof that Epstein didn't kill himself. So Epstein didn't kill himself is kind of is not definitive based on this. The only thing that would be definitive is if you had a camera in here and then the camera showed that he killed himself. Then like you could say like, okay, like that's pretty good evidence that he did, right? The existence of this camera is not proof enough, is my point.
Secret Service, they tell me it's fine. But it's a little hard to believe, to be honest with you, okay? It's a little bit hard to believe as I get that throbbing feeling.
So, Dan, the question is that a lot of people have...
Now, guys, if you could put duct tape on this door, if you duct tape this door right here, then you could prove that he killed himself. Because if you came here later, and if you came in here and you put duct tape on this cell door, and then you left, and then he died, then you could prove that he killed himself because nobody else would have been in that room. since the time you put the duct tape. So if I walked in here, I saw that there was nobody in here but Epstein, and then I walked out, I duct taped the door, then it would prove that he killed himself.
Wondered is, did this kid have help? He could not have pulled it off by himself. Was there a foreign actor? Did someone provide him with the weapons? Was there chatter online?
Well, let's be clear here. There are two separate parallel tracks here. Foreign actors targeting people in the United States, and it's not just the president, it's others. That is a very real track. The question is, do they intersect? The case file now, which, by the way, we are going to make another public release on this coming up. We're just kind of finishing up the product now to make sure it's tight and put together. You're going to see a lot of what you've heard about online does not exist in the case file. I'm not telling you information may not surface later. We do the PDB, the President's Daily Brief. We get the same brief, me and Kash, every morning. We have warned people out, telling them if there's something there we want to find. They have shaken every tree on this.
You mean you talked to his classmates, you talked to his family, you've talked to everyone, because they evidently they burned the body, cremated, and they cleaned the whole house out.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
Yeah, why would they do that? Why would they do this like so? You know what? If they don't want people to be suspicious, they don't want people to be conspiracy theorists, then stop being so sus. Like, just stop being so sus. Like, why would you do
With the
that?
Epstein case, for example, we have a number of significantly odd abnormalities that would make a normal person go, huh? What? Mm-hmm. If Lawrence is near his bank at 4 o'clock and the bank gets robbed, but we know Lawrence reported to work afterwards and has an alibi, the fact that the bank was robbed, it's a fact that Lawrence was there, but it's not evidence that Lawrence committed the crime. Mm-hmm. Things, really, really bad things happened in this case. But when you see the report we're going to release, you'll see that not everything you've been told is true. But the president is not wrong at all. I mean, he was shot in the head. Yep. He was shot in the head, got up and screaming, fight, fight. Of course he's going to want answers, but that's our responsibility. And nothing's ever closed, though. If new evidence surfaces, we'll be sure to get it out.
There were just things that were strange. The slope roof thing, you know, the guy was on his bicycle roaming around, never caught, never seen.
Yeah, how is this possible?
Let's talk about something that's been in the news this morning.
They knew that he had a rangefinder. Like, I mean, what more do you need? The dude had a rangefinder, like, oh, he has a rangefinder. Interesting. Like, what the shit, dude? You fucking kidding me?
And that is Kash Patel talking about how
I know
James Comey was on the beach, posted that social media.
Out of all the things they could have caught that guy with, a rangefinder? Like, are you fucking serious?
8647. He claims that he just happened to walk up along the beach and they saw the shells, he and his wife, and he put it on social media, says he thought it was innocent. He was the director of the FBI, but thought it was innocent. He knows what 86 means. Then Kash Patel said, now we have all these copycats, and now y'all are having to pull resources from all these serious crimes, terrorists, gang-related individuals, drug traffickers, and people who are abusing children. You're pulling them off to go research these copycats because we can't afford another assassination attempt.
I got to tell you, of all the things that have surprised me in the close to now 3 months I've been here, is the depravity of Jim Comey. This man is a disgrace to the badge, the FBI, and the country. What he's doing right now, one, going out and me taking shots at Kash. Kash doesn't belong. Kash was the chief of staff at the Department of. Kash is a patriot. Kash has served in numerous high-level roles, taking personal shots while you're on the beach, implying a threat towards the president, and blaming your wife about it. And let me just add about James Comey, you know, Saint Comey, who walks around there moralizing to everyone how wonderful of a human being he is. What you said is absolutely accurate. We have wasted countless man-hours now running out tips to our tip line about people putting 8647 because of Jim Comey, because he cannot control himself and his emotions. He is a child. He is a big child. And
what I tell you guys, the biggest problem in society today is a wisdom dump stat. There goes the wisdom save fail again. That's what I'm gonna call it. Every time somebody fucks up, wisdom save fail. That's like literally it. That's the cause of everything.
let me tell you one more thing. Jim Comey, who wants you to believe. Jim Comey taking a shot at the president. Oh, look at me, I'm such a victim. The president's going after me. He's making a ton of money on this book. The only person that got prosecuted was the president. Jim Comey, we're finding stuff even now. Wait till you read the stuff that's coming out.
Does he still have loyalists in the building? Because when I hear the FBI director saying, you guys are finding boxes that are hidden, okay,
how is that possible?
How does that happen in the Bureau?
That's a good fucking question. How is that even possible? How did nobody talk about this?
Well, we were there a couple of weeks, and luckily there were a lot of people up there who grabbed us by the arm the minute we came in and said, thank you for being here. You know, we need to talk. There are people there who are really horrified at what happened. And there was a room, and we found stuff, a lot of stuff.
A hidden room.
I wouldn't call it hidden, but hidden from us at least, and not mentioned to us. And then we found stuff in there, and a lot of it's from the Comey era, and we are working our damnedest right now to declassify. And just so you know, because I get the public, I totally understand people saying, well, do it now. The process is not all the information is ours to declassify. Some is other intelligence agencies. It's not, we literally can't do it. Once that gets done and that gets out there and you read some of the stuff we found that, by the way, was not processed through the normal procedure, digitizing it, putting in FBI records. We found it in bags hiding under Jim Comey's FBI.
Quickly,
you're going to be stunned.
The shells on the beach. Can you not talk?
Just give it to us, man. Holy shit! I'm giving them a year. I'm gonna give them a year. You know, maybe there's some process. They want to do it fast and they just can't. Maybe there's some kind of process behind it. But I swear to God, if we go 4 years and they don't give us any of the shit again, I'm gonna be so fucking mad. Like I'm gonna be livid.
Y'all take this down. If you see anyone posting this, take it down. It's a threat to the president's life. Second thing, can you arrest people that post these like Comey?
We make arrest decisions based on an interaction with
what
the
happens
Department
after
of
a year? I'm like, I'm never voting for these fucks again.
We're the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, not prosecution. The problem is a lot of these cases haven't been a Secret Service agent. Is you're going to prove intent, and
I'm just gonna go like full black pill and just like let's go like live in the woods or something. You know, I'm gonna go build out my little gonna buy like some like big plot of land in the middle of buttfuck Egypt and just like make a little house with like some Starlink, and I'm just gonna fuck off basically.
What you don't want. You say you arrest him, and he goes, there's not a magistrate that's going to, and the guy walks out of court doing a victory lap.
You got to build the right case.
You have to build a case. You need to build probable cause. I don't want to do what the left did, which is jump the gun. I mean, then you have a situation like the prior deputy director.
No, I'm going to work on the TG. I said Starlink. I'm going to have Starlink come out. I'm going to have Starlink. But,
to abate Andrew McCabe, who goes back, files a lawsuit. This guy was engaged in one of the biggest scandals in American history. He got $200,000, I believe, and his pension. You have to do this the right way.
What about social media?
And he also got a network contract, so he's an expert commenting on you.
Yeah, they're
what
all
is that
victims.
like?
Well, listen, as Lawrence said before, it's difficult for me to not be able to respond like I used to, but there'll be a day. There'll be a day. I'll be back one day, and I'm going to be sure to answer all that stuff. But that's not my job now. My job now is to put aside my partisan interests and to responsibly handle the deputy director of the FBI position. You got to remember, Brian, nothing that gets to our desk, me or Kash, is a 5 or a 6 problem. Everything's a 10. If it's a 9, someone else fixed it.
We didn't even get a chance to talk about the laptop that the FBI held on to make sure it wasn't a factor in the election.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to address. We can't publicly talk about HR matters. We just can't. It's
illegal.
Yeah, it's you can't do it. But anyone out there who thinks we have not taken appropriate action against political actors, they're just making that up. We can't go out and advertise this stuff, but if you think we're allowing partisanship to infiltrate the FBI and just let all that bad stuff happen, you're really just making, I don't know why you're doing it. Maybe you're trying to break up, divorce us from the people and breed mistrust. But that is not what's happening. I don't know what people think me and Kash are doing all day. I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Kash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment. But I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other, and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out at the FBI. You're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
I got one more thing.
I believe, guys. I want to believe. I want to believe.
I'm not asking anyone to trust me. Trust is for fools. Just wait for the results.
I'm waiting.
That's all I'm asking. Don't trust me. Trust is for fools. Too many actors in government.
That's my Oshi, guys. That's my Oshi.
I've asked you to trust them and screwed you in the past. We're not doing that.
Yeah, speed. You don't need speed in this. You need to do it right.
Smooth is fast.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Great to see you.
Appreciate you.
Great to see you.
I didn't hurt you, did I?
No, he's still
A
here.
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I mean,
Yo, what the?
Actors in government have asked you to trust them and screwed you in the past. We're not doing that.
Yeah, speed. You don't need speed in this. You need to do it right.
Smooth is fast.
Thanks, Dan.
thanks, Dan.
Great to see you.
Appreciate
He just touched my Oshi.
Great to see you.
I didn't hurt you, did I?
No, he's still here.
Oh my God, he's touching.